Well, most of you have seen the quadratic formula before, but let me just have you put pencils down. Just watch me do it first. Pencils down. Pencils down. Okay. So the negative boy could not make up his mind whether or not he wanted to attend the radical party. The boy was so square that he missed out on 4 amazing chicks, and the entire party was over by 2 a.m. So negative boy couldn't decide to go to a radical party or be squared and miss out on 4 amazing chicks. It was all over by 2 a.m. So the first step is to identify A, B, and C. So what's A? What's B? No writing, not yet. A is 1, B is 3. Hold on. And C is -5. Here's how I fill it out. I begin with what? B. I begin with B, just like when you begin with B when you're doing slope as well. And you begin with B when you're trying to find what? Remember? Axis symmetry as well. You're always beginning with B. Okay, so B is 3. So 1 goes in, 1 goes out. I have A next. 1 goes up, 1 goes down, and I'm just left with C. Make sense? All right, I want to see this on your paper each time. Make sure you draw out the skeleton. Okay? Yes. All right, so I'm going to simplify. X equals -3 plus or minus. 3 squared is 9. -4 times -5 is positive 20. All over 2. This one's kind of nice because once I simplify 9 plus 20, can I do anything with that? Once you can't do anything with the radical, you're done. That's your answer. It's actually 2 different answers in one, right? But I'm not going to expect you to write that out. It's -3 plus root 29 over 2, and it's -3 minus root 29 over 2. But when it's like this, when you can't simplify, you can just basically say, I'm done. Questions? Okay, make sure you have that written down. Okay, watch me do it one more time. I'm just going to set it up and then I'll set you guys to go. So first I'm going to identify A as being 1, B is 4, C is -5. I'm going to begin with B. I have a B outside and inside, and A in the top and the bottom, and finally -5. So I get -4 plus or minus the square root of 16 plus 20 all over 2. This can be simplified in here to be X equals -4 plus or minus root 36 all over 2. At this point, I know that root 36 simplifies to 6, right? So I'm going to have 2 different answers here. I have -4 plus 6 over 2 and X equals -4 what? Minus 6 over 2. No, you need to do both. This is why. -4 plus 6 is what? 2 over 2 is. And this one, -4 minus 6 is -10 over 2 is -5. So when it can simplify like that, you have to write it 2 different ways. So what's that mean? 1 and -5. What did I just find? I found the root. One's at 1, 1's at -5. Is this going to go up or down? Up. So it's a parabola that looks like this. How come I didn't draw this one? There are roots. You just have to put that in a calculator and find them, but they're definitely not on an integer, right? They're somewhere in between, right? So that would be some type of decimal. And I don't want to find it right now, and we're not going to. All right, any questions on this? I'm going to do one other example. Do you guys have this written down? I can. Go ahead and write that down. Okay, let's try one more. So what do I do with this one? Okay, so I need to subtract 2x because I need this in quadratic form, right? And the standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So we need to see that. So this is now going to be 2x squared minus 2x plus 6 equals 0. Could I have subtracted negative 2x squared? No. This is why. If I would have done that, I would have got this. Negative 2x squared plus 2x minus 6. So what's different between these two? Negative positive. This one's a parabola that's going up. This one's a parabola that's going down. Anytime you change the sign of that coefficient in the very front, you change the shape of the parabola. You don't want to do that, right? So you don't want to move the x squared because that one's in front. Make sense? Okay, so we don't want to do that. All right, so now I've got my A, B, C. A is 2, B is over here, negative 2, and C is 6. So I'm going to begin with B. Negative 2, negative 2. Then A, 2, 2. And then C is 6. X equals negative times a negative is a positive 2, plus or minus the square root. This is a 4, right? Negative 2 squared is 4. Okay, so you can multiply these however you want, whatever makes sense. You could do 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 6 is 48. Or you could do 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 times 4 is 48. Or you could do 4 times 6 is 24 times 2, which is 48. Right? What property tells me I could multiply those in any order I want? Commutative, right? They can commute, they can move around. So move them around until you just make it the easiest possible combination for yourself. What would you guys do? 4 times 2 times 6? I like this one. 24 times 2 is 48, personally. Okay, but it's not just 48, it's negative 48 over 4. All right, this simplifies to 2 plus or minus negative 44. You can't do anything with that negative sign, right? You cannot do anything with a negative underneath the radical. It's just going to stay there. But I still can manipulate this a little bit more, correct? What square is in here? There's a 4 in there, or a 2 squared. So 2 plus or minus the square root of a negative, a 2 squared, and what's left over? 11. Too much. Maybe some of you want to see a little bit further up. That good? Yes? All over 4. So that 2 gets kicked out. And we're left with x equals 2 plus or minus 2 root what? Negative 11 all over 4. What can I cancel? So I take a 2 from this 2, and what happens? So 1. I take a 2 from this one, and it's a 1. And a 2 from this one, and it's a 2. So my answer is x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 11 all over 2. And those are the hardest ones right there, where you have to simplify, simplify, simplify. And you just got to do step by step by step by step. You don't need it. It's just saying I have one of them. Do you have to put the one there? No. Okay? You can if you want to. It wouldn't be wrong. Anybody have questions? This is the hardest one. And I guarantee you that there's going to be something like that on your quarterfinal where you're going to have to simplify it just a little bit more. And they'll probably have both answers on there. And which one will be correct? I would say that you probably have this answer on a quarterfinal and this answer. That's kind of tricky, huh? So this is wrong. This is the correct answer because it's completely simplified. Thank you. Just leave it right there. Yeah, do as much as you can. That'd be great. Okay. One step at a time. Don't have too much time to do that. Okay, so what's my A? And my B? And my C? All right, why don't you guys do this one on your own, and then I'll unveil my answer. Okay, there's my answer. How you guys doing? Good? Can I do anything else with that? Nope. Moving on. Try this one. Let's do the first step together. What do I need to do first? I need to subtract what? I need to subtract 2x first. And my new quadratic equation is x squared plus 8x plus 2 equals 0. So what's A? And B? And C. So I begin with B, 8 and 8, and go to A, 1 and 1, and C is left out in the behind back there. Okay. You guys go ahead and solve it, and then I'll unveil my answer. And here's my answer. X equals negative 4 plus or minus root 14. Questions? Did anybody get lost in the process? 56 is really 8 times 7, which is really 2 squared times 2 times 7. A 2 gets kicked out. That's how I got the 2 in front of the root and a 14 in this radical sign still. Questions? Okay, you guys did good. The rest of it's your homework to do tonight. I need you to freeze though. What did you learn today? Quadratic formula. Why do we have a plus and a minus sign in front of the radical sign? Because there's 2 roots. Good. On your assignment sheet, write out your favorite song when memorizing the quadratic formula. There's more than just the negative boy couldn't decide, but write that out. The negative boy couldn't decide. Write it out on your sheet.